on, I don't have all the specifics on the mixed bag, but we've had a good many entries in the last week or so, another probably 7 or 8. Chris Williams has pulled out again. He's at 27 species right now, I think. Aaron Bourne, our new member from over near Harrisonburg, he's at 22. I'm at 18. Jim, you're at 14 or 15, and your grandson's behind that. We've already surpassed the end of year entries from last year.
I think Ed's got 13.
Yeah, Ed Jones is at, he had some multiple entries, so I hadn't counted all of those yet, so. Yeah. So yeah, it's going well. We need to start talking about prizes, budget, things like that.
Yeah, we probably need to have a board meeting next month, early next month, talk about that. Obviously, we've got 2 events coming up in September with National Hunting and Fishing Day and this day at the farmers market, and then Sugar Day in November. So we got a few things coming up, and then of course, next thing you know, it's gonna be Christmas. So we're gonna be talking about the Christmas party, right? So has anybody spoken, by the way? I forgot his name, the young man's name. Sam.
Sam Ricotta?
Yeah,
Not yet, haven't reached out.
okay. Probably need to do that early soon.
First
Yeah,
Monday in
resolution.
December again.
First Monday in December, unless anybody's got any objections to that. I think it's worked well for us, so I say let's continue. What works. Any cold water reports?
Robert and I fished a little mo last week. There's a few fish still in the wall hole and the meat hole, but very finicky, and they've been running the bunker valve for several weeks at 7%, which means that the river is wadeable, but a lot of silt coming through. Fish just don't seem to be real healthy, not growing a whole lot, I don't think. What little bit there is there. So if they continue to run that bunker valve the way they're doing it at 7%, I think just about all of the river is wadeable at that level. And I think it'd be great, you know, you have some current. I think it'd be great once they start stocking fish again. But who knows what they're gonna do.
Well, they start stocking in October. Hopefully by then, you know, cool weather, and those fish will have spread out a little more also.
Yeah, I mean, the water at the park is 52 degrees because it's coming off the very bottom of the lake. And so it's in the 50s way on down the river right now. But just depends on how they let the water flow, you know, so.
So is it like cool all the way to Hines Bluff, cool enough?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
They go fishing, they already died out. I went in the grandson there 2 weeks ago over there, just playing around out the river. And we didn't catch any fish, but we netted 3 dining fish laying on the bottom, belly up. So that was before they started to stem a flood rate. Later on they died off.
Yeah. Well, saltwater, any saltwater reports?
Talked to a conventional fishing guy today, and David, he said they didn't do any good. It's hot down there. A couple of weeks ago, they caught some.
Where they fish?
Where is he? He's down south of Lafayette somewhere.
Homa area.
South of Houma, not all the way over like Point of Shin, that far east, but
Yeah.
south of it. Got a camp, houseboat.
Ed Jones, that I've been talking about, setting up something down towards Shoe, that area. There's a lot of landings, a lot of put in places to get kayaks and
We were thinking about maybe. Going down there, where some people go to Freon Lake, some people there in the I-10 bridge, and then wherever they want to go, and then get together later and sort out how the fishing was in different places.
Yeah.
I got retired from saltwater fishing in July and August, even early September. And the problem is that speckled trout bite and even the redfish bite in the ponds is real early. Like from, 30 minutes to sunrise till about 8 o'clock. You can almost shut it off. In fact, some of the guys that are bringing in fish, reporting on Facebook, said they got their limits by 7:30 in the morning, 15 fish limit. So-
July, you said?
Yeah, July and August, because it's hot right now, and this fish just, shut down pretty much mid-morning and all that. So, but, and then you've got all the ladyfish you gotta deal with. And you got gaff top catfish and hardhead catfish. And if you don't think they'll eat flies, you're mistaken, buddy. They'll eat anything, anything that's moving in that water column. And so it's, I let it cool off a little bit before I go fishing back down there again. Now, freshwater is a different story. I've been catching sac-a-lait pretty much every day. Anytime I go out now, I'm gonna catch anywhere from 2 to 4 fish, 5 fish, and then I come back in. We just keep 2 for dinner. I got caught 2 this morning, for example. I'll catch them at the wreck area, off the dock, but also in my kayak, I'm catching them. And this is strange. They're around some pretty shallow water right now, less than 10 feet in Coteau Lake. Y'all know John Petrie? He lives on Coteau Lake. He posts on Facebook quite a bit. He's been catching around docks over there, which is very unusual for this time of year. Usually those fish are deep. There's even, I even saw one of my the guides I use to lead in, Living the Dream Guide Service. And they caught a bunch of fish, fishing off docks out there. So it's kind of strange. I didn't check the water temperature this week, but last week it was like 84 degrees, which is really below temperature. It's actually below what it usually is.
Rich, that girl you talked to at church, they caught 74 last weekend at Toledo Bend, white perch. So that's over several days now. It's not.
Yeah. But usually you're fishing real deep for them, and this summer it seems like they're a little bit shallower than usual. And so, and then this morning I saw something I hadn't seen since May, and it was bass crashing shad near the an open area, Coteau Lake, even down. If they're doing it there, they're doing it at Coteau.
They're doing it in
I mean,
Indian Creek.
Kincaid, yeah,
They're doing it in Indian Creek on Martin Ridge and
yeah.
run through there and eating in the dark.
I talked to a guy that came out, we were on our bike ride last Saturday, and I talked to another one a couple of weeks ago. And he said they're coming up, but they're not staying up long, but they're coming up and like churning and go back down.
Dark 30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This guy was.
very early.
No, dark. I'm talking about 8:30, quarter to 9 in the evening.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
they're doing it early in the morning over here at Coteau. I haven't been out that late after dark. So I'll have to check that out. Any other reports, any other?
I'll give you the secretary report. We got 87 member families. We don't have any new people in the last 2 months. I think that Sam guy, the firefighter, Kisatchie, he was our last person to join us.
I see you got some new hats.
So we got a bunch of caps. Please, catch the cap. The new pink one, this is a new pink one, thanks to our vendor. That's the color that he found.
Oh, yeah, that looks
It's the
good.
new pink.
Have you asked female opinions on the 2 different pinks yet?
I have not,
Probably need to do that, Rich.
well, I did not ask him to change the.
Well, I think it might be a survey that just changed it.
Yes,
Now, is that a denim you have right there?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's the one.
That denim color is really popular, and there's a lot of people at iCAST wearing those denim, and also charcoal caps. gray ones, charcoal gray, it seems to be a popular color right now. In there. So anything else? Any other questions or reports or anything? Okay, well, let me introduce you to a speaker tonight. He's the Nobel Peace Prize winner. You know, I mean, he grew up in South Louisiana, he lives somewhere now. He was a beloved character on the TV show Friends, which never appeared in a single episode. What else gotta say about it? Anyway, he's a tackle freak. We'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, this headline right there should be highlights 2024. I've got to change but that's my usual picture right there. So iCAST is held every July in Orlando, Florida. It's the world's largest trade fishing show. And I go down there because I'm a tackle junkie. Next. Yeah, I've got a fever and the only prescription is iCAST. Seriously, I can blame Dave Diaz. Dave Diaz is like Walter White in the fly fishing world. If you ever were around him, you were addicted to something. When he first started the Red Stick Club in Baton Rouge in 1988, Dave gave a casting clinic. And I've taken casting workshops with some of the greatest names in fly casting in the last part of the 20th century. I mean, Joe Wolf, Lefty Craig, Mel Krieger, Doug Swisher, I can go on and on. Dave Diaz was one of the best. He was an instructor's instructor. And he ended up being, before he passed away, he was on the casting, he was the casting board of governors, chairman of the casting board of governors. And if you talk to Jeff, Ferguson, he'll tell you what just an amazing instructor Dave was. But he had many talents. And another one, he got me addicted to casting. That's why I got into all this casting, started taking casting workshops and all that. He was also did rod building for our club in Baton Rouge. And he got me started into this rod building stuff we do now. Going to a rod building session with Dave was like Encyclopedia Britannica on fly tackle. Because you didn't just build the rod. He would tell you how these rods are made, who made them, the history of the rod, the history of this company, the history of that company, how fly lines are made, how what the chemicals used in the outer coating of the fly line are, and what they make a difference is, and the core and everything else, and the reels, how they're machined, and bistratic component. He just went on and on. And so after the rod building session, we'd go to lunch or dinner with Dave, and for 2 hours, we would talk tackle. He was a hardcore tackle geek. He got me addicted to this. So when I started my Louisiana fly fishing website back in 1995, I would do some fishing reports and, talk about different ways to catch redfish and stock redfish and all that. And then I'd do a gear review, talk about some gear. And then I'd go back and I'd look at my blog. You can look at the blogs and see how many views there were. And sure enough, the ones that were on tackle got the most views, most reads. So when I started writing for Louisiana Sportsman in 1999, I kind of did the same thing. I said, once a year, I'm going to do a gear review, tackle review, write on new tackle, existing tackle, and so on. Well, I didn't realize how popular that article was until a couple of years later. Sportsman started putting the previous month's article on their website. So you could go out there and you'd see like how many views there were, how many people read this. 101, 161, 210, 916. And there it was, it just blew up. And that was a gentleman from Arkansas. I can't remember his name, but he and I were in constant communication about tackle, especially rod building. And then he would find the article on Sportsman and he'd go and post it on all of the major fly fishing forums at the time. There were like 7, 8 fly fishing forums on there. So it just got populated out and people were reading it. I was getting emails and, messages and everything, phone calls and everything. I didn't realize how popular it was until I'd gone up to Somerset. One of the shows I'd gone up there. And everybody was at the Sage booth and everybody was at the Loomis booth and everybody was at the Thomas and Thomas booth. Here's one little booth out here and it's called Temple Fork Outfitters. And nobody was there. And there's a gentleman behind the booth, his name was Rick Pope. I got to talking to Rick, went out and casted rods in one of the casting pools. I came back and I said, Rick, this is an amazing product for $99. A 4-piece rod with a warranty and he casts like a dream. I said, this is great. So I came back and, most of the people who write, whether bloggers or writers who write about what they see at these shows or at iCAST, they pretty much, you go to a magazine, you'll see it's kind of verbatim of what the press release is. And if it's anything like they actually tested the product, they'll say, oh, it's a great rod. This rod's a great rod. This rod's and then you go back and you look at the advertisers and all the rods that they advertise in the magazine are great rods. If it doesn't, they don't advertise in the magazine, oh, it's a lousy rod, right? So there's a certain element of, integrity that's lacking in some of these things. Well, I didn't care. I mean, you ask anybody who knows me and they'll tell you that, I'm just built that way. I'll tell it like it is. It's like the time that I wrote about Scientific Angler's new fly line. I said, the only thing scarier than the movie Jaws is SA's new shark skin fly line. One little problem, I was on the Scientific Angler Pro staff at the time. And so I got a call a week later telling me I was no longer on the staff. So I'm not afraid to tell it like it is. But I wrote this in my column about Temple Fork Outfitters. I said, this is probably the best new company out there. Great product, great people, everything else. I said, if you're really looking for a rod at a discount price, you need to check these people out, get them the website, everything else. Rick Pope contacts me and says, man, he says, I don't know what you did, but I've been hearing about your name and getting all the calls and business and everything else. He says, anything you ever need from me, just let me know. So sure enough, I took him up on his offer because our Red Stick Club needed some rods for casting, for doing our casting clinics. And he gave us 6 rods and reels and fly line, the whole thing for nothing. And then after that, every year he donated a rod for Red Stick Day. So it's paid some dividends. And sometimes it's good, because like what happened with TFO, sometimes bad, like what happened with Scientific Anglers. They didn't want to talk to me anymore. They didn't want to even see my face. But it's what's great about being involved in tackle and going to these shows and everything else is meeting the people. I can't say enough about the quality of the people that are involved in fly fishing industry. They're really nice people. They're great to talk to, and I just have a blast. Even if I don't see one new product, yeah, it's coming now. I just have a blast being there and talking to people and getting together with a lot of friends in the industry. So anyway, let's go on. So there were 3 trade shows that took place every summer. iCAST, Fly Tackle Dealer, and Summer Outdoor Retailer. Fly Tackle Dealer and iCAST merged in 2015. I started going to Fly Tackle Dealer in 2010 when it began. In 2015, they merged with iCAST. They were in Orlando for 3 years, and then some of the people, at least in the fly fishing industry, from the Northwest and the Northeast said, Florida's too hot in July. We don't want to go down there anymore. And so they quit going, but then they didn't seem to get enough interest back started again. with fly tackle dealer. And so we're terminating in 2022. So now iCAST is building up their fly fishing presence again. They had more exhibitors this year, twice as many this year as they had last year. And they have a casting area specifically for fly casting. So it's going to be pretty much the show now for all of, and this is important. Show the next slide right here. Because when I was going to fly tackle dealer, this is basically what I saw. And when I started going to iCAST, I saw all of this, which included fly tackle, because there's a lot of companies that, like St. Croix, Loomis, Berkeley has Hardy and Gray and Kruger, and I go on, that have regular fishing. KFF, for example, has spinning cast, spin rod, casting rods, and so on. But they also have fly tackle they sell. But then you also have apparel, accessories, coolers, kayak, so forth and so on. They're real, we take for granted. Hats, for example, very important. Shirts like this. They're all part of what we do when we go fly fishing. Okay. I'll never forget iCAST 2021. That was a super spreader event for COVID. And everybody there I knew got COVID, including myself. I was the only one who ended up in a hospital. In the hospital for 6 weeks. And yeah, I looked pretty bad. Maybe not that bad, but I looked pretty bad. What?
You used to be a good looking as that guy on the left.
Yeah, almost. I tell you, COVID's a bad thing, man. That's some bad things to you. Turns your hair gray. So anyway, iCAST is, like I said, it's huge. It's 2 million square feet of show space. It's only open to exhibitors, retailers, buyers, media guides, reps, pro staff, and celebrities. And I saw, what's his name? Famous baseball player. A-Rod. A-Rod. I saw A-Rod over here. I saw a basketball player for the Atlanta Hawks was there this year. Can't remember his name. But anyway, of course, you got Bill Dance, Roland Martin, Ike Canelli, all those fishing celebrities there also. But you have a variety of other celebrities as well. Next. There's Jimmy Houston right there. So it's more than just a product show. There are seminars and workshops at various tracks. They have focused access to media retailers. They have I wore a media badge for about, up until 2 years ago at iCAST. And so they have a specific media area where I can go in, I can plug my laptop or whatever, tablet, and get in. And of course, then they give you all kinds of good free stuff too as well. I miss the free stuff. Go on next. Swag. That's what they call it. Swag is next. Okay, so iCAST begins on Tuesday morning with the on the water demo. And this is where I get to test the new paddlecraft or even existing paddlecraft. You can also check out rods, reels, lines, of various stuff on there. I did my sunglass testing also on this day because I use it to look into the water and see how well it does. Okay. And then Wednesday is the industry breakfast and the state of the sport. This year's keynote speaker was Sebastian Terry. He's the author of 100 Things to Do Before You Die. Also on the Discovery Channel. So that was a great presentation. It really was. Go on. And then there's the new product showcase where they have all the new products put out. Retailers and media people vote on it. Afterwards, they have free beer. So that's what
you could drink, huh?
Tuesday afternoon, about half the exhibitors out there have beer. And so it's a great time to do some things that you might not otherwise do or get a chance to do. While everybody's in line for beer. Go ahead. They also have conservation seminars and forums. And then they also have a conservation corner, which is one area of the floor space is dedicated to conservation groups. So once Fly Tech Reviewer ceased to exist, iCAST, made an effort to bring back fly fishing into iCAST. They have a whole area which is dedicated to fly fishing. And then they've got this right here, which is the iCAST Fly Shop. And it's pretty neat. You can go in there and you can look at all the new products and stuff in just one area and see them. And it looks like a fly shop inside, it really does.
How big was that section, the fly shop section?
Oh, it was probably from that wall in that room to here, about this wide, like this. So it's a big space. Oh, yeah. And there's a lot of stuff in there. The casting pond was new last year at iCAST. And here's Andy Mill. He was there again this year. He did a presentation on fly casting at noon each day. Yeah. Okay, so one of the trends in the industry for this year, one is advancement in motorized kayak fishing continuing. I mean, it's pretty much to the point, nobody's putting out pedal drive anymore. Because kayak, all the kayak bass tournaments allow trolling motors now. Many of the saltwater kayak tournaments allow trolling motors.
Did you have to get registered for those?
Yeah, exactly. But these trolling motors are, a lot of them are specifically made for kayaks. And now the kayaks are being built, to handle trolling motors. Inflatable kayaks. I saw a ton of inflatable kayaks, but I'm not going to report on that because around here, I don't know. You take an inflatable out of Cotillo to Cade Lake or down some of the oyster beds at Dulac over there, they won't be inflatable for long. Rods in the mid-range and value categories shine on. That's really great rods. $600 and less. I just don't see any reason now why people want to spend over $1,000 on a fly rod. There's such good quality, such great value in that range right now. And then more women-specific fishing gear and apparel. And there's a reason for that. We'll see that later. Okay, so trends in the industry, we'll talk about that. Newport has revigorated the trolling motors. They have an NK 180 is now NK 180 Pro, and they've made some improvements to the motor. You used to be able to buy this little thing that pulsed your current so that you got more efficiency out of your motor. Well, these things are built in with it now. So they're much more efficient. And on top of that, they now have a proprietary battery, which is you can lift it like this. It's about 15 pounds like this. And the combination of the two is a plug and play. You just go in just like the Tarkio. You just plug in and everything. The guide was telling me that he ran 8 hours one day. He ran a range of 8 miles. He ran a range of 8 miles one day on this Newport like that 180. And he came back and he still had 40% charge left in his battery.
How fast you run?
Yeah,
Really, what it comes down to.
but it's amazing.
It goes a long way.
These are 24-volt batteries. So 50 amp hours doesn't seem like a lot, but it lasts a long, long time on there. But it's just so convenient. You take it out, you plug it, and it goes. This is even more convenient. The battery is actually inside the shaft. Now, it doesn't have the range. It has a range of about 4 hours at 3/4 throttle on there. So it's not, but that's enough for most people who go out for the day. You just hitch it onto the back. You don't need to worry about your battery.
The whole time.
Yeah, then you just come back and recharge this, and that's it. And it doesn't, you notice it doesn't have the opposite case like that. So you don't have to worry about hitting stumps and breaking your prop on there. It's really neat. Yeah. Okay. So I like to do my iCAST product stock market, which is inspired by, I listen to college, Full Ride College, Sirius XM College Sports, and they do their stock market value. Anybody listen to their show? Their radio show? They do stock market. It's like they do it for football teams. So I'm gonna do this for fishing tackle. So go ahead. So stock up, Hobie sunglasses. These are these Mojo floating sunglasses, and they come in rose amber color, which is kind of the best combination of two colors for contrast and clarity. And I'm gonna tell you, I compared these to a new pair from Smith with $300. Now, Smith are the best sunglasses. Those Smith sunglasses were the best ones I've ever put on my head. I mean, I could tell detail down my elevator. This one probably came to about 90% of what the Smiths could do, but they're only $109. So if you're like me, you lose sunglasses all the time. This is probably your best bet. Plus they float. So they really are a great buy, great value. Next. This one also impressed me. This is a new cooler, rugged road cooler, and everybody's got a Yeti. I've got, Kenai, I've got a Tundra. They're heavy. I mean, a 45 can't, that thing weighs, 25 pounds or so. This one weighs 8 pounds. It's a new type of plastic that they're just starting to use in commercial applications. And we put it in there, and they said it holds ice for 7 days. Well, we'll see. Maybe 3 days here in Louisiana. But the fact that it only weighs 8 pounds, and it's got a reversible lid. You can take this lid, reverse it, so that you have a seat. I actually stood up on it, so it's pretty strong. It's as strong as any polyethylene cooler. Good. Cheeky is replacing. I'm a big fan of Cheeky reels. They're replacing their launch series with this. This is the first series. The price is going to be about the same. They only went up $20 in the price, but they said it's an improved seal drag system. Well, I could tell it would really smooth up to 8 pounds of drag on the line, which is pretty doggone good. That is really good. And they're also going to have 2 color options for each size.
Is that a fully forged reel?
That's a machine.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, and then Maxon Outfitters fly reels. This is one of those companies I was talking about, small companies. They were there last year. They have a Max fly reel. It's $149, machine reel. What's special about it is, unlike most cheap fly reels, which have a really wide arbor and a small diameter, this one has a pretty good size diameter and a small width. So that means you retrieve more line when you're taking in a fish like that. And the drag is also more even when fish is taking line out. I really love the fit and finish on this reel. It's fantastic. It's a great company. People are great. They also have a sealed version. That's what that ST stands for $249. But if you don't, if you come back, you wash it, you use it in salt, come back, you wash it. I have drags that are unsealed. I've been using those reels for, 20 years and they're still working. So this was a neat idea. This is a side sling foam rod holder, and you can put the rods into these little slots, and then it's like a 90-degree. So it goes like that. So you put it in there and you squeeze it to the side and holds the rod in place. So if you want to bring 2-3 rods out in the river with you when you go to Little Mo, I know it probably needs 3 rods when he goes.
It's all three at the same time too.
But the guy told me he's got his set up on a mount for his kayak. So he puts all rods, he has a mount, and it goes right in here, and he puts 3 rods in there for his kayak. It has more than one side in there. he said it's better than trying to keep them different rod holders. All that takes up less space. Go ahead. When we get to premium waders, this company's probably one of the best right there, Grundon's. This is like 640, but I'm telling you what, the quality on there, I think, is right there with Tabara and Sims and all that. And so it's just a really well-made wader. And everything on there, every pocket on there is waterproof. Right? I like wearing waist waders most of the time when I fish. And this is a company called Paramount, and they've been getting a lot of press. It's an up-and-coming company and all that. They're doing pretty good. These have 6-ply knee reinforcements right there, which you don't see on the value-priced wader. And so these are really nice. I need to get me a pair of these. Good. Frog Togs has a new chest pack, and it looks pretty big on here, but actually it's only about this big if you look at it in person. So I'm kind of thinking, in the past you saw a lot of big chest packs that were big and huge and bulky like this. Now you're starting to see more smaller ones. Fish Pond's got smaller ones. Sims got a smaller one. These Frog Togs have a really good value, $65. Now this one wasn't at iCAST. Hobie, for some reasons, boycotted iCAST the last 2 years. But on my way to iCAST, I stopped at Everything Kayak in Gulfport, Mississippi. It's right there off the interstate. And I actually checked this out again. This is a Hobie Quest 12.5. It's new for 2024. It's 12 feet 6 inches wide. 12 feet 6 inches long, 31 inches wide. But look at this, it weighs 57 pounds.
Wow.
And you can see from that the way it cuts into that water like this. This thing, it tracks as well as any kayak I paddle. It is fast.
Could you stand on that one?
Cruising speed was 3.8 miles per hour on my
Could you stand
GPS.
up there?
You could, and I'll show you why. You see this right here? It's got a cathedral hull. So it's super stable. I'd lean like this, like that. A lot like my old ocean kayak Prowler and Caper. They were narrow kayaks, but they were very stable.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about standing on there. You could stand, if you want to, but most of the fishing that I do, I don't stand. I never stand.
Really?
What's the weight capacity?
This one's 380 pounds, I think. In there, so unless you plan on getting some pounds, you're okay.
Yeah.
Next. Now, this one was at iCAST, and this one had a lot of people excited about it. It's called the East Cape Canoe. Get that right, Canoe. I actually showed y'all this before in a previous presentation about iCAST, but not like this. The previous boat was fiberglass, all fiberglass. This is carbon fiber. For some reason, I can't remember exactly why, he told me that they didn't like the fiberglass. I said, just doing carbon fiber. And you see, there's the reason why. It's 13 feet long and weighs 50 pounds. And this is all slip-proof foam in there on the bottom.
Now, is that rated for an outboard or just trolling motor?
Just trolling motor, but up to 3 horsepower. 4 horsepower. Might be 4. Yeah.
What, I don't know, what pound thrust is that, a 4 horsepower trolling motor? Because I have a 55 on my tow end.
Yeah.
Looks like a bomb right there.
I don't know, the guy who fishes out of it was telling me he gets about 10 miles per hour top speed on it. It's a displacement hull, so you're not gonna get plane speed on there, but it really cuts through the water.
What are those light colored things on there? Look a little bit like wood.
This right here,
Yeah, seats.
the seats, yeah, the seats. And there's flotation under the seats, so the thing will, can't sink. It's got accessories to put, push pull
Flat bottom,
and all that. What's that?
bottom's flat.
Yeah, the bottom slat on there, so. Yeah, it's got a lot of buzz. This gentleman right here, Michael Boken, owns Sabre. How many fit tied with Sabre hooks? You bust it, yeah, Sabre. Yeah, that's him right there. That's the owner of Sabre Hooks. And he's expanded to Sabre products now. And he's got all kind of tying tools. He's got flash materials. For example, this bucket right there has a bomb. Notice it's got ceramic and it's got a barrel on there. I kind of like those barrel bobbins. They're really neat. So he's got all kinds of stuff. He had a carbon fiber net right there. One of those safe release nets. I think that's $99 right here. This one right here. So I don't know what they sell for, but I think it's in the hundreds.
Yeah, that's not excessive frac for a carbon fiber.
Yeah. Okay, here's another gentleman right here who's kind of expanding out. His business called Marabou Brothers. And he's dyeing marabou, he dyes feathers and all that. He's got endless selection of colors. He says, if you want a specific color, contact him. Choose a color on the palette, any color, 160,000 colors or I guess whatever. And he'll match it. And he's also coloring hackle,
Your
which is,
website, see on a website?
yeah, I got it on my card. I'll
I'll
pass it along if anybody's interested. Right. Okay, stock down. These are the things I thought, well, really, this is the Renzetti foam fly pad. And it's $40. It's like, okay, so I can take pool noodle section and put it on there, for insulation. That's what it looks like right there.
What is
And
it?
just-
What? Show again what they pay for it.
It's this, yeah, it's this thing right here. It's a piece of foam.
Little tube?
Yes. Yeah, on the extension arm attaches to the bobbin extension, extender right there. So,
Why do you? Never mind.
so that little bit of foam, you put your flies in there. Put your flies.
Like a drying station.
A drying station or just to display it or just to hold it for a while, whatever. But you got $40 to burn. Have that, my friend.
Made $40 on you.
I can go to John Warren Hardware and get the
I got
same piece for that.
piece of styrofoam from Hobby Lobby. That's different.
Yeah, that one. Okay. And then this was the one that got a lot. This is the new Bonafide XTR 130 kayak. And everybody kind of looked at that and said, kayak. It's 41 inches wide and it weighs 170 pounds. So in fact, that's one. This is one. This is one of the memes that came out of this. The new Bonafide XTR plastic boat, respect its pronouns, yak, kayak.
That's where you get your ears pierced.
Yeah.
Close to one behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was another boat there that was New Wilderness Systems, 120, I can't remember the name of it, but it too was wide, but it wasn't as wide as this. The Pro Angler is what, 38 inches? So this is actually 3 inches wider than that. And
It's a whole lot heavier too.
yeah, and so I tried paddling that boat. Ain't happening. It ain't happening. You need a trolling motor, basically, if you can fish that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But is it stable?
Oh, yeah, really stable.
lot of people
Yeah.
ask about stability.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one guy sitting in the back and the other guy was standing in the front and was casting. And, it shows two people right there, but it's really, it could be one or two people. But it's like, okay, that's a boat. I'm sorry. We're getting, we're pushing that edge right there, that boundary. Okay, so rods and evaluation. There are 4 categories when I used to write the column, I used to break rods up in 4 categories: budget, value, mid-range, and premium. And so that's the current breakdown that I use to evaluate. And then when I go out there, yeah, I'll look at fit and finish. I'll look at such things like that. That's good. I also talk about warranty to these people. But I'm looking at 20-foot accuracy because, a short cast is as important as a long cast. And many times you go out there fishing, that redfish is right where Robert is. I got to make that cast just as much as I can do a 60-foot cast. Same thing with 60 feet. I look at accuracy there, and then I try for maximum distance. And then I do the 60-degree pickup and lay down. That's where I'll take the rod and one false cast, one back cast, just go 60 degrees like that. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. When I'm fishing over here, I thought I saw a fish, and then that redfish pops up right there, and I want to pick it up, throw it right there, and throw it on target to the fish in front of his nose. If people ask me, what's the difference between a $500, $200 rod and a $1,000 rod? That's the difference. Is that 60-degree cast right there. That will show you the difference. Because those $1,000 rods have almost no vibration in the tip. You might see a little bit in the mid-price rods. You see a lot more in the budget and the value price rods. But it's getting to the point where the difference is shrinking like this. And all the rods are really good nowadays. It's hard to find a bad rod out there. Go ahead. So here's some of the budget rods that I saw that I was really impressed with. And again, I casted 24 rods. So I'm just picking out the ones that I really liked. This one right here was the Douglas Era. It's a $149 fly rod with a warranty. And it has a fast action to it, which you don't usually find in a rod that price. And if you ever look at graphite, if you ever look at, it's just painted blank right here. If you look at Yellowstone Angler and their reviews and some of the other reviews online, you see Douglas is always near the top. They do make a good rod, a good fly rod. They just don't get mentioned much, but they are really quality rods throughout their lineup. Next one. Okay, and the value rods, which is that next step up like that. I saw this rod for the first time last year, the Maxon Outfitters. Ariel, I don't know how you pronounce it. Aurelius.
Really?
Yeah, Martin Aurelius. Okay. It's the only thing negative I can say about that is the cork is not the quality I would like to see. That's one reason why you're paying $299 for that rod right there. But it has a very slow swing weight. It had the best overall casting test of any of these value price rods. And I was testing it with that Maxon Max reel that I showed you earlier. Go ahead. I did not see this one because I'd already bought it. Echo wasn't there this year, but I already tested out the Echo 84B at an earlier show in Atlanta. And this rod so impressed me, I went back home and bought it. This is what I call a bass short rod or a short stick, because it's not 9 feet long. It's actually 8 feet 4 inches long. And the first thing you notice when you hold this rod is the swing weight. See how light it feels in the hand? Good.
That's a mojo. I was just saying that's
Yeah, go ahead.
That's
why it's a tip.
You got a warranty?
That's the one they made for term and stuff.
So one thing, I've been advocate of short rods for many years. Even though everybody seems to think 9 feet or even 10 feet is the best rod. The thing about short rods like this is the ability to cast under trees, shoot under docks and all that. But also a shorter rod like that gives you more accuracy. I'm able to do more curve cast with it than I can with a 9-foot rod. Also, I have more leverage when I go to, hit a fish, pick that fish up. Shorter rod's gonna have more leverage than a longer rod. That's just physics right there. This rod was designed by Tim Rahab. If y'all don't know, he and his brother Steve are two of the top fly casters in the United States. And Tim designed rods and of course started the Echo brand. And these rods have just been fantastic that Tim's made. All his rods are great in that Echo lineup. But I was really excited to see this one right here. And it's just a great rod. Okay, go ahead next. Douglas has a mid-range rod called the Solution. The DFX2. And TFO has a new rod called the Solution. Now last year, TFO came out with the Blitz, which is a fast action rod. This is more of a moderate fast action. So this lineup is mostly trout rods, but they do have 8 weight in there. And the nice thing about it is it's got a much smoother delivery than that Blitz does. Blitz is a great rod to cast, but I'm more of a moderate kind of guy, I like a little slower presentation like that, a slower stroke. And that Solution is just perfect. This DFX2 right here, it's already gotten a lot of accolades before it even got to the show. People who were testing and everything was saying how great it was. I had to try it for myself. And they were right. It was great. It's a great rod. And those are that's in the mid-price range. Those are going to be like, $500 or so. Then there were the premium rods. And I casted quite a few. And of course, it's hard to find a bad premium rod. But I'm pointing out this one right here, because this is St. Croix's first venture into a premium rod. My very first rod my second rod was a St. Croix fly rod. So it's been around a long time, since 1988. And before then. At one time, they were mostly, fly rods. And now they're almost all casting spinning rods. So this is kind of a surprise that they put some effort and attention into a fly rod. But it's a good fly rod. It's still not as good as this one right here. I still think the Marksman C is the best rod on the market right now, premium rod on there. What do you get when you pay $1,000 for a fly rod? You get maybe an extra 10 feet. That's, Next. Okay, so at the Wednesday morning breakfast, the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation gives a state of the industry report. And then they have it available to the public that same day. Usually it's released each year the week before iCAST, but this year was actually released the first day of iCAST. And it gives the stats from the previous year. So next. So this is 2023. We had 57.7 million Americans who went fishing. And that was the highest participation on record. And also it was a 3.2 million increase from 2022. We had 4.2 million new anglers in 2023. We had the highest number. What's that?
Any fishing.
Any fishing. We had the highest number of female participants on record, and 37% of all anglers were female. And I can believe that because there were a lot of women at iCAST. Hispanics, a record number of Hispanics fished in 2023, and a record number of African Americans fished in 2023. Now, as far as fly fishing goes, we have a record number right now. We have the highest number of fly fishermen in the United States since, well, ever. They've been keeping the record since 1960. So who knows what that was before then, but since, at least since 1960, we have the numbers, the highest number of fly fishermen in the United States ever. We went up, go back. Yeah, we went up 3% this past year. And altogether, since 2010, which was a low point right here, we've been up 43%.
What's the yellow line?
That's growth.
Number of participants.
Yeah,
In millions.
yeah. So we're growing by leaps and bounds, even though we don't see it everywhere it's happening. Go next. This is what I found interesting, because I look back at the one from 2020. No, well, year before COVID, 2019. And what impressed me the most was this age demographic. We are, at the time, we saw a lot of older participants in fly fishing. And now it's very evenly distributed among age. So we have all age groups in there. Another thing that's interesting is the income level right here. As you can see, we're in that higher income level. We have the highest income level of any group of fishermen, which is why they charge us $1,000 for a fly rod, right? Because we can afford it and we're willing to pay for it. Female participation in fly fishing is up. This was 30%, and so we're up 1% there. What's interesting here is Black participation was 9%, we're up to 11%. Hispanic has dropped 1%. But it's interesting to see Black participation in fly fishing is increasing. Go ahead. Here's another graphic where I compared to previous year, back to 2021. And what I see in here is this area, these areas right here, all the South Atlantic, East South Central, West South Central, and East North Central have all grown quite a bit. Pacific has gone down a lot. It was up there 18%, it's now down to 15%. Mountain was 11%, it's down to 9%.
All left went to Texas.
Yes, it's probably right. But there is a correlation there between the growth in fly fishing and states that are more working people.
Red down in Florida.
Oh, that's South Atlantic. So that's the largest group of fly fishing participants is down here. Go on. Now, this graph hasn't changed much at all. People ask me all the time, well, shops have pretty much disappeared, right? There's hardly any shops compared to what they used to be. True, but this is sales dollars. This is not the number of fly shops.
That's online though.
Exactly. You have some humongous shops, internet sales on from just, a couple dozen stores online. Think about it, Feathercraft,
Right.
Fly Fish Food, Fly Fish Spawn, Fly Fish, H&H, Orlando Outfitters, and go on and on. They get do a whole lot of business. They get a whole lot of business during during COVID. In fact, one of them told me he did more business in COVID year than he did the previous 4 years combined. So if you didn't buy into the internet and internet selling, internet sales as a fly shop, you were missing the boat right there. Go back, I want to point one other thing. This is a general right here. So there's a lot of stores like Ship to Store, Pack and Paddle, Mariner Sales, get Flying Field or whatever, that sell other things besides fly fishing stuff. And they account for a large amount of sales. Next. But it's not all good news. Yeah, we're growing. And this is true this is the graph from fishing industry in general. But it's also happening in fly fishing as well. It's called the leaky bucket. You know, we're gaining a bunch of people, but we're losing a bunch of people at the same time. It's just that we're happening to gain more people, new people, than we're losing older people on there. And so, you know, they gave some statistics about this. They said, well, you know, a certain percentage of the lost participants are people who got too old to fish and, you know, for health reasons or whatever, were out. But in their surveys, they showed that a large number of people who dropped out did so because they just didn't get an opportunity to fish. So that's something, you know, probably want to start keeping in mind. Like in our club, do we give our members a chance to go fishing? You know, we do get-togethers. Let's go fishing over here. Let's go fishing over there. Because it's one thing to teach them casting. It's one thing to teach them how to tie flies. Them going out in the water and now they know, okay, I can cast. I know this fly that I'm using, but they don't know how to catch a fish. And that's basically what it boils down to. Or they have nobody to go fishing with. And so they feel uncomfortable. And so there's a major push right now by American Sport Fishing Association to do something about that and fix that leaky bucket right there. Because imagine if you didn't have this amount of loss in your numbers, where the number of participants would be right now. It'd be really, really high.
The two biggest increases you showed on there was 2020, there's a 3% increase, and this year was a 3% increase. So that was beginning of COVID. Now the ending of COVID. There might have been some drop out of that for one reason or another, just because they started during COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And-
the fishing wouldn't be so good because they're not locked up, they can go to ball games now.
yeah, there are other things to do. That's true. But then, you know, one of the advantages of COVID is you're locked in. Okay, now I can watch YouTube about how to fly fish. Now if you go out and do it, and guess what? You're not successful.
It goes hand in hand, all the trailers and campers and placeholder during COVID, where they couldn't even manufacture them fast enough.
Yeah,
People might have been fishing when they were traveling going.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, oh, this is my Cormier's Best of Show for 2024. And I told y'all it was coming. It's a kayak-sized live forward-facing sonar, or live imaging sensing, whatever you want to call it. Live scope, yeah, whatever. It's a 5-inch, 6-inch Garmin screen like that. I think I did see one by Lowrance also. It's kind of an all-in-one. Live scope as well as down imaging and so on. And then, of course, you know, there's the scope right here, and that attack makes this thing. You just rotate it, and then you can put it and lock it in place. So it's, you know, within reach like this.
Was that the sensor on the left on that pole?
Yeah, this is the transducer right here. You know, for this, and then this is the unit right here that displays.
That was cheap.
What's that?
I bet that was cheap.
Yeah, this is $999, which is actually pretty good. I mean, it's cheaper
Put
than
it on a
some.
$7,000 carbon fiber.
Look, it's still cheaper. That boat, along with the 4 horsepower trolling motor and the live scope and everything else, is still a whole lot cheaper than the
Boston Whaler.
used boat that I saw, or the what's it the East Cape, there was an East Cape skiff that was there. There was a Chittum skiff that was there. We're talking 50,000, starting 50,000. Yeah, you can go up to 100,000 real easy on you. Depending on what you want. You want a 21-foot flats boat, that can go 100. So, yeah,
That
don't complain too much.
$199 you mentioned, that's for the transducer and the mount and everything?
No, just the graph.
Just a graph. And then the transducer, I think it's like $200 something. So,
How deep does that transducer have to go to sense the fish? Is it close to the surface or 3 feet
yeah,
down?
It's in the water.
Just have to be in the water, doesn't have to go all the way down to where it's.
no,
Okay.
it's just, right there. That's it. That's, this kayak was on.
You want
just,
to just, an inch lower than the bottom of your boat so you can see under your boat.
Oh,
Well, there will not be one of the door prizes at the Christmas party.
Oh, come on, Chris,
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
need one.
We'll have to call Roger.
So any questions about anything? There's a couple of items that I did put on there. One was this shirt right here. They were giving this shirt away. And you could go up to the Under Armour booth and choose your whatever image you wanted on the back. I chose bass. These are new shirts at $50. So they must have given about 1,000 of them away or more. So they spent a whole lot of money, and I asked them, how y'all gonna make your money back? How you gonna make your money back on this shirt? He said, all we gotta do is people like one, buy another one, and we'll be in the black easy. There's a markup on these things. Anyway, but this is a really comfortable shirt. I gotta tell you, the reason it's so comfortable is it's got an interlacing pattern on the inside. So only 50% of this shirt contacts your body. The other 50% is like maybe just like 0.5 millimeter off the skin. So you get some natural aeration in there.
So how many days were you there?
I was there for 3 days.
3 days.
Mhm. Another thing that I saw that I didn't put in there, trying to think the name of the company, I think it's called Steels. Yeah, Steels. They're making a fully zippered waterproof backpack for $109. Yeah, I mean, if you saw a waterproof backpack for under $200 before, it was roll up. It was a roll up. Everything was zippered was $300. The reason was the price of the zipper. The zippers were made in, those waterproof zippers were made in Japan. They were like $100 a yard for the zippers. And so, you get a bag that's waterproof and you only have 2 zippers on there. The way they say money, but now price has gone way down. Those bags haven't gone way down. The Arvis bags and all that they're still priced where they were before. But the new ones that are coming out, this company right here. And so this is really a great breakthrough.
Do they pick a best of show fly rod?
Yeah, one thing you gotta be careful though on iCAST is that everybody gets to vote on the new fly tackle. Even people who've never seen a fly rod before get to vote. And so there's some, choices that are questionable. I just don't pay much attention to that at all. I think though it was TFO rod, TFO Elvera or something like that. It's a Euro nymphing rod.
They just came up here.
I think the fact that it said Euro nymphing got some people excited and they checked it off. I really don't, I don't think, half the people then know where Europe is on a map.
Was Tenkara there?
No, there wasn't a Tenkara company. There were, a couple of company rod makers that sell Tenkara rods. But the show in Dallas that we went to, there was a company there called Zenkara. And Chris Williams and I got a chance to talk to a young lady. She'd make a great program for us, a remote program on Tenkara. She's caught all kinds of fish on Tenkara, tarpon, redfish, everything on tarpon. She says, if you can catch it on a regular rod, I've caught it on a Tenkara rod.
Brim buster just as good, huh? Same difference.
So it's yeah.
maybe different kind of line tied on it, don't it?
Still saying,
What do these guys, when you said that, if you're a participant, you get to vote. What are they voting on, the desirability of a certain product, or do they vote on all the products, or what?
They pretty much vote on all the products and you vote like best in each category. And then there's a best of show overall.
Do they give you like a notepad to?
You get a card, you know, a thing like this.
Check
And
it, you check
yeah.
it, scan them. that's how
Yeah.
they-
Mhm. Now, one thing they've done this year in an effort to, you know, to get more fly fishing exhibitors and participation and all that, they expanded the categories for fly fishing. So there was fly line, for example, they had the best new fly line. And that was the Scientific Angler Magnitude Clear Tarpon Line. It's a floating line, but it's clear from one end to the other. And I know guys like Captain Hugh Smith and his son Chip Smith that fish out of Destin, that area. They swear by those clear lines. So now, why would you want a clear floating line as opposed to a clear intermediate line? I don't know. But, you know, some people probably want. So, any other questions? Okay, well, that's it then.
Did you fly it across?
I drove.
Tell your trip is